That means yeah.
Yeah.
Don't say anything if you can hear me. Okay. One of the criminals who were hanged there kept deriding him and saying, "Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourself and us." But the other criminal rebuked him, saying, "Don't you fear God, since you're under the same sentence of condemnation? And we indeed have been condemned justly, for we're getting what we deserve for our deeds, but this man's done nothing wrong." Then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." He replied, "Truly I tell you, today you'll be with me in paradise." And then station 12.
Meanwhile, standing near the cross of Jesus were his mother and his mother's sister Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing beside her, he said to his mother, "Woman, here is your son." Then he said to the disciple, "Here is your mother." And from that hour, the disciple took her into his own home.
So, with Jesus promising his kingdom to the repentant criminal, and then Jesus entrusting Mary and John to each other, two very different things happened, but that were somewhat similar. And so, for this station, instead of identifying with Jesus, we kind of ask that people try to identify with those who Jesus was interacting with. So try to identify with the repentant thief, and then also try to identify with the people who just experienced great loss, who were entrusted to each other. In that spirit, we want to talk about it at Young Nation and at the Alley Project. This keeps my statements brief, so I hope it's not distracting when I'm looking at it. We try to be committed to examining and organizing not only our community's needs, but also our community's assets. We feel in these two stations, Jesus looked at a thief that other people might look at and stigmatize and say, you know, while the people who were the heads of the churches at that time would say, surely we're going where we're supposed to, and he's not, Jesus kind of turned that on its head. And he said that while you have, you know, the rules and the law and the exterior is kind of down and you can make them look well, in your heart you don't have the right things going on. And so Jesus almost kind of gave it to the person who was right in their heart as opposed to the outward things, which really makes people think about some things. Immediately after, as far as the stations go, he then addressed two people who had just experienced great loss and kind of encouraged them to have a responsibility to each other. So even though they had things that were going on, he kind of gave them to each other to kind of look past what they were experiencing themselves and try to be there for the other person. So at the Alley Project, one of the things that we feel like we try to do in identifying with the repentant thief and also identifying with people that had loss is kind of acknowledging that not everybody, it's not possible to just be all bad. Also in our community's needs, there's not just all bad within those needs, that there's also assets within people and within needs. And so there's kind of a flip side. So I'm sure everybody here can think of one person that they know that something that attracted to them when they first met them, whether they were a friend or significant other, also became the thing that became really annoying about them later. We happen to think that that's because in your strongest qualities are your strengths and your needs. And so there's a flip side to all of it. You know, if you have somebody in your house that's, you know, always yelling and getting mad really quick, the flip side to that is they're probably also the first person to stick up for you in a group of people. And so Jesus, in the story of the repentant thief, did a very good job of illustrating that concept. At the Alley Project, we tried to honor the repentant thief by saying young people, even though they're often stigmatized as being part of the problem with vandalism and things like that in the community, that they're also part of the solution. That the same thing that creates the community needs is inseparable from the assets that those young people also bring and the potential that they have to contribute to the things that are going on in the community. Their passion, their creativity, and their drive. And so what we did is we made Easter-themed cans for you. So these are actually cans that street artists from all over the city, when they have empty cans, street artists, fine artists, anybody who's using aerosol, often they bring us big garbage bags full of empty cans and they bring them to us. And we do different things so even though they're used and they're spent, they become building blocks for us to create things with and for the community. And one of the things we do is can wall, but another thing that we can do is kind of what we're doing today. So with these spent resources, we put the verse for this station right here with the repentant thief. And go ahead and grab one if you guys want. We also have some markers that you guys can pass around and take turns with. And some of you might already have your own markers. And we want to ask you guys to think of two things. One is a community need. It can be whatever. It can be something associated with your work or something close to home or whatever. But we want to challenge you to think of what is the flip side of that community need that makes our community special, that gives us an asset that other people don't have because they don't have that need. And write both of those things, like write one and then a slash and then the other. And, you know, kind of use